That's
Cool.
interesting.
Yes. Straight outside.
So this is your generator.
This generator.
The genset.
And this is the briquetting machine. Biochar goes in here, briquettes come out here.
Come down here.
Yes.
Do you have one? What do they look like when they come out?
I'll bring them to you. Yeah.
How much? What did you say it was? 35 kilowatts?
32 kilowatts.
32 kilowatts.
Yes.
Okay.
So what's your capacity for milling?
For milling, we do about just 10 tons a day.
10 tons a day?
Yes. So
You
that's
guys are focused on rice here. not
rice
maize.
works for other crops as well,
Like sunflower or
like sunflower. So you can see groundnuts. I mean, you can see we've been supplying the breweries for a year now.
What are you going to change?
The first thing we want to change on the next iteration is to basically use the excess electricity to power trucks. And because the price of diesel for moving crops around is an issue, and access to diesel as well is an issue.
Yeah.
The second thing is,
Do you have any of those electric vehicles now, or?
project just started officially today on paper. So by this time next month we'll have them.
So you'll buy a few.
Yes, we'll buy a few and set them up. The next thing is, we've done all of our farmer aggregation through one-to-one communications with the farmers physically. But now we've realized communicating with 6,000 farmers on Excel is not viable. So we're building an app for farm aggregation, building an app to manage the operations in the mill and the power plant, and building an app to distribute the finished product.
Internal app for you.
So at the moment, the hammer mill and the huller use diesel because we only have 32 kilowatts of biomass electricity. But that's enough to run all the conveyors. It's enough to run the cleaning machine and to run the conveyor for the rice hulling, and then to run the water pump, which keeps this place moving, and the lights. But with the scale up, we'll be able to turn each of these mills into an electric motor, and then have it to be a fully operational system. So if you look at the amount of power we need right now, there's about 150 kilowatts currently on diesel engines. There's about another 150 kilowatts of briquetting plant, which is already with us. It's in the next village. So that alone is got an extra 200. So now it's running on the gasifier. Yes. And
You talked about having aggregation points. How many do you have?
right now we have one in the next village called Gotmu. It's an aggregation point which is basically about this size, about 1,000 cubic meters space. And so we have that in a village of about 1,000 homes. Process it and separate the biomass from there. For certain biomass, like simsim stalks, like maize cobs, we can purchase them at the aggregation point, because those ones are easier purchased from there instead of being brought here. But for the ones like groundnut shells, rice husks, and soybean hulls, if it's still on it, we can bring it out here and do the threshing from here, and it comes here.
What about if you bring the biomass here? Where do you store?
At the moment, we store them in this dryer just behind here, the one we saw first, where it's heaping out. So we just put it in there, where all the rice was coming out from. Yeah. So in terms of the consumption of biomass, to run all these mills, we would probably increase our biomass consumption from 50 kilos per hour to about 200 kilos per hour. That's still not much, because if 200 kilos of rice husks to generate enough electricity, that you would need about 40 liters of diesel every hour for. So 40 liters of diesel costs much more than 200 kilos of rice husks. And that's what makes this milling much cheaper than milling out there. And the cornstarch, which comes out of this mill, and then you know the chicken feed, then it doesn't make sense for anyone to set up their mill here.
Contracts or agreements with those farmers, the grain here for cleaning if they had a forecast.
Anything on the farmer side, we'd rather have the attraction of the market and the attraction of the higher price, and then you know kind of by word of mouth it keeps going around. If it wasn't social distancing and COVID, we would have actually had the farmers come here.
That would have been, yeah.
Yeah. And they would have a chat with you with themselves. But yeah, they've really welcomed us. My dad wasn't born here, I wasn't born here, but they welcomed us here. So yeah, it's awesome.
Why did you choose this spot?
Well, I think we chose it because the bishops.
The
Yeah.
bishops, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Positions in the church and across here. And then from
15 sites are actually, they have a lot more concentration of households nearby, you know, room to be testing. It's the scale up. Each of those villages has at least 1,000 households, you know, testing for the kind of solution we're doing. Because an app won't help me here with just five customers. But with 1,000 farmers, you know, an app becomes very useful to kind of
What about
manage all
some of
that.
these big commercial operations? Like I know we passed one
Yes.
on the way in. Do they, I mean, have you talked to them about setting up some sort of a mill and?
So at the moment, the rice farmers, especially the ones across the river, come and mill here. The large rice farmers out there, and what they've been looking at is for their existing drying needs and cleaning needs. They've said if we do scale up, they'd like to have some electricity as well. So that's the interesting thing on that tech side. And of course, as we scale up, there is a source of biomass as well.
and it is interesting to know that our connection with other 16 places across northern Uganda. I took the initiative to move and I distributed the seeds at Arenga Bridge. So that is the nucleus. And then when we put on social media, it attracted many banks. DFCU Bank, for instance, the headquarters sent me a message. If we could link up with all their managers in northern Uganda, so they help our farmers with the loan. So we distribute agricultural loan. First of all, open 20,000 accounts, 10,000 the greater Gulu, and 10,000 accounts the greater, that is east and west actually. So it took us 9 months to travel in all these places to do this. So the farmers also having had that opportunity through us to get empowered with this agricultural loan, cheap loan. And they are no longer the same.
Yeah. Let's move towards lunch as we talk. Yeah.
So,
Okay. Oh, there's some finished product here.
attached to us.
Yeah.
And right now, when I'm speaking to you, the first batch of tractors were distributed. The second one has arrived in Mombasa, and another one is being loaded from England. So we are spreading the tractors to boost up the farming so that we have more biomass.
You have more biomass.
Yes, this is how we are linked to the farm.
Interesting.
Well, I got you one as well. Yes. Yeah.
Got it?
Yep. Awesome. Yeah, chakula is food. Yeah. So
So it just says food on it?
it says food. Yeah. So it was a tough brand to get because they kept telling us you can't brand it food.
Can't brand them.
Very far back.
Here, 3, 2, chakula.
Chakula.
We blame the mask for it.
We done?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So you're welcome to have lunch now.
This has been very interesting, Pete.
No, I'm glad you've come.
Yeah.
It's been a whirlwind, and yeah, really.
Sorry we were a little late.
No.
Sorry,
It's
Putting out a whole
it's
spread.
we also had a road which was not incredible.
though.
Yeah.
For the record, Oscar indicated that you guys were in, where is it? That
Yeah.
Yeah. Which we passed that an hour before. We
Yeah.
got So I was like, wait, but that's where we're going. And then
Yeah.
it's like, no, it's another
Yeah.
hour.
No, but it's all right.
Anyway, but we're look, we're really happy that we could be a part of this, and this is exciting to come out and see it. And,
Yeah.
and look, I'm going to be here for 4 years.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I want to see the place in Gulu.
I mean,
you know,
it's,
that 20 megawatt place.
and even this little project here in the next 3 months, 4 months will be so different.
Yeah.
Thanks to your support. So we'll keep you updated.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, and look, the other thing is our goal with everything that we're doing is try and enable people and businesses like this to become self-sufficient, totally self-sufficient, so that you're not dependent on, a partnership with a donor or something else, but to develop your own model so that it works and it's self-sustainable for you.
Yes.
As long as they are meeting up to 2,000 meters,
Yeah.
they are required for the
For me, leadership is a privilege of moving people towards a destiny. And for me, it could be towards God's agenda. That's the best, moving people to God's agenda. God has an agenda for everybody. And I know some people say, oh, it's too much of God, but God has a plan for this world. And so whether you're in business, you're a medical personnel, if somebody came to you, a good medical leader says, I want you not only to be healed, but to be healthy. That's the kind of mindset that I see, and it's about self. So if you ask me, am I a leader? By the grace of God, I am a leader, and I am growing as a leader. And I thank God for that privilege of being a leader. And who is a leader to me? It's very simple. Someone that has a vision, but is also someone that is there serving people. For me, that's a leader. Vision is where you want to take things. Serving is the recognition that if the things do not matter to people, drop them.
Wow.
Drop them. Because at the end of the day, whatever we do must make a difference in people's lives. Anybody who has had huge impact in history, in leadership, the impact is not measured by just the things they did, but what those things did for people's lives. Did they make a difference? So it's useless for you to make so much money and the money does not add value to people's lives.
Wow.
So for me, yes, you have to have a vision, and at the end of the day, you are serving people. It doesn't change. Leadership is leadership, whether it is at what we would call a lower level or a top level. Leadership is leadership. It's about influence. It's that influence that comes from you have a vision and you are serving people. So what changes is the level of responsibility, but the other one that people don't like is the level of accountability. You see, Jesus said, to whom much is given, much will be required. So the only differences there is the level of responsibility. When you're at the national level, you are now responsible for an entire nation. When you are a CEO, now you're no longer just looking at the department, you are looking at the entire entity. The responsibility has changed, the accountability even goes higher. Hi, this is Julius Watlonyo, pastor at Watero Church. Thank you so much for tuning into House of Talent Television. It's a great, innovative way of doing TV, and particularly for being a part of the CEO bench, talking about leadership. You know what, friends? Leadership can be tough. Leadership can be lonely, and the dynamics of leadership keep changing. I want to encourage you, watch the CEO bench so that you can get to hear real practical tips on leadership from people who are actually practicing leadership. Once again, thank you for being a part of the CEO bench right here on House of Talent Television.
Every day and they are called creative minds. Everyone is born with a DNA of creativity, and everyone has the DNA of creating something that will change the world. Are you thinking? Are you creating? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Creative Industry Talk. My name is Eddie Okela, and this week on the program we focused on the audacity of hope to continue creating even in this pandemic situation is something that we are discussing today. My name is Eddie Okela, and my guest this morning, not just a guest but also a long-term friend, is a creative mind, the man who has been doing it and is a resident panelist on the Creative Industry Talk, back from the outside countries, as we say it, in Uganda, and is now here. Faisal Chiwewa, welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Eddie.
How are you, Faisal?
I'm good.
Great, and you've been traveling quite a bit of late. Would you like to tell us the experience of traveling as a creative mind? What are you seeing, and where are you, how are people doing it?
I think, what traveling really helps is it opens you up to new ideas, to see that people are not sleeping and not worried about yesterday or tomorrow, but they are really thinking about the future. And when you see what is actually surprising, that when you get to the flight, you realize that there's been a lot of changes done around mobility or moving or flying. And it's exciting to see our technology is stepping in. And I realize that there's a lot of new artificial intelligence being used for the safety of the people, but also for the comfort of those who are traveling, to be not so much in contact with other humans. So for me, it's really exciting to see that when you arrive at different airports, you feel like you're managed by robots somehow. And it's fascinating, but also it scares us who are still struggling with the opportunities to work. Yeah. I love the idea of creativity in terms of getting work done by artificial intelligence, but also you worry about those that are not able to get jobs, that they are going to be running out. The pandemic has really given us a challenge to see that we are going to be working differently and engaging people differently. So this all moving around is really, for me, it gives us personally a challenge to start thinking a bit more on how do I sustain my career. Otherwise, I run out. I might be replaced by a robot.
Yeah. Wow. We want to just take a moment to welcome every one of you guys all across the world to the Creative Industry Talk. And the Creative Industry, where we used to be, very much needed.
There's a yearn of people really, you can call it, to continue being, keeping their minds at busy.